Welcome to the Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, psychic medium Carrie Muggs. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Spunky Spirit. I am psychic medium Carrie Muggs. And today's episode, we are going to talk about miracles. There's some awesome things that happened to me over Mother's Day weekend, and I wanted to share them with you. Usually I'm pretty secretive about this stuff, but I just figured, you know what? If I'm a psychic medium, my people are going to want to know about some of the stories or some of the cool things that happened to me. So today, we're going to talk about miracles and some of the things that happened over the weekend that I loved. That tells you that your ancestors are with you all the time. And sometimes even though they can't get involved or they can't change things, they are with you and they're going to help you through it. So yes, thank you everybody who was there who left me messages, left me prayers, sent me messages about my surgery on my tumor right here. It's in my cheek. They got it out. They also took out the tooth. They were super thorough because if they leave any cell from that tumor cyst in my cheek, then it will come back again. But they did remove the whole tooth this time. That was using the tooth as a base. So I feel good. I feel amazing. It's not as crazy. I mean, it's been a crazy journey. Let's just say that. Let's just say it's been a crazy journey. And I would be lying if I didn't say that I had seen some of spirit take a hand in all of it too, because things happened for reasons. Things happened at certain times, and I can see how it all kind of played in together. And sometimes when we don't see the big picture and we don't understand what's happening and we're in it, when we're in the thick of it and we're in the middle of it in the journey, it can seem so hard. But then when we get to the end goal or the end game and we look back and we think, wow, that's what happened and that's why this happened. I remember doing that during my divorce. I remember in the thick of it, it was a mess and it was horrible and I cried daily and it was just awful. And then, and I didn't ever think I would see an end game in it. I didn't understand how it was going to end. But you have to remember, Spirit or God or your ancestors or your loved ones, they see the end game. They understand how it's going to end and they help you get to point A from point B. And it's not a straight line. It's like all over the place. So what I have noticed with this tumor is that I did have a pretty set on anxiety. So normally my anxiety was okay. I have anxiety, but not near to the effect that it would like consume me or it would, I don't even know how, like consume me. Like it was every day. Like I had tools and I had ways that I could get around it, but recently with this tumor, for some reason, I don't know if it's all the toxins or everything that are going in, or just the fact that, there's just stuff going on in your body because your body's just significantly important and spirit and body have to combine and luckily my readings weren't ever affected. My readings were actually really spot on and better than ever. And so that was a great thing because I think if my readings would have been affected, it would have been that much more like hard. Anyways, so just remember, miracles are everywhere. And during it, I thought this was tough and it was tough. And now I see the end game and I see how much it did push me and how much it did close down my clairvoyance. And I had to use other ways to communicate with spirit. I had to use my clairsentient, and I had to use which is my feeling, and I had to use my claircognizance, which is my knowing, and my hearing, and my taste, and my smell. I had to use all of that because my clairvoyance was kind of shut down for a little bit. And it made me have more gratitude for my clairvoyance, which is awesome. And it's kind of like with your physical senses. If you lose your hearing or you lose your sight or you can't speak, you depend on your other senses. And that's kind of what happened when this tumor thing started happening. And each time I go in and I think, oh, I got to do this for my business, this for my business, this for my business. And I go gung ho. And then this tumor shows up and it's kind of like spirit saying, trust us. We know you have all these plans, and we know you have all this stuff that you want to do, but trust the journey. Trust. And I've been seeing lots of tortoises or turtles as signs, and I know it's because Spirit is telling me to slow down and let them do what they need to do. I've done the work. I've done where I'm right where I need to be. Does that mean I'm done? No. It means that for right now I am, and now it's time for me to slow down and let Spirit take control of how they want this to work too, because it is mine and I get to make plans and I get to help people, but Spirit is also kind of my partner in this, and we've been in it together. And when I say Spirit, I do mean God or the universe. And when I do say Spirit with a capital S, is God, the universe, all of us, one, the Creator. When I say Spirit with a small with a small letter, it means your spirit. We all have spirits within us, right? And they come from the Creator. So that's what I mean. So Spirit kind of has my guides. They have a certain way or a way that I'm supposed to go. And even though I have my free agency, they like to help, because what I do helps or have other people involved. And so I can't, if I'm doing Spirit's or God's work, it has to be sacred and loving and coming from a good place, because if I do it at a wrong place or I do it in a scary or lower frequency place, then Spirit doesn't want to have anything to do with it. I hope that makes sense. So the cool thing that happened to me for Mother's Day this weekend. So Mother's Day's always been really hard for me, and I don't know why. It's just because I think in the past, I've never really, my kids are great and they celebrate it, and I do get flowers and it's fun and the kids come and visit, but I do see my mom. I send, text messages to her. So it's not like it's a terrible thing. It's just that sometimes it's always like a hit and miss. Sometimes your kids acknowledge you and sometimes they don't. And so every year is different, right? And when they're little kids, it just depends on the season you're in. So if you're in a season with little kids, you probably don't get very much unless the dad's really on top of things. But then if you're a single mom, you don't have a dad that can do that, then, the kids will do their best. And not always, sometimes just Mother's Day is just a mother's, it's just the same day with flowers. I don't know how to explain it. I do actually love Mother's Day. My kids are good about it. But sometimes there's just this, I think this year, the reason why it was kind of a not a dreadful feeling, but a dread to me, is because it was on May 12th. And May 12th is 25 years ago to that day, my dad passed away of lung cancer. And it's so weird every year that May 12th comes up, because I think how much has changed. And when do I get to the point where he's been gone longer than I was with him? So my brother's reached that point. My brother was 23 when my dad passed, and my dad's been gone for 25 years. So my dad's actually been gone longer than my brother lived on earth with him. I'm getting there. I was 28 when my dad passed, and I am now, and he's been gone for 25 years. So in a couple years, we will pass that milestone where I have been on earth without him longer than I was and it's kind of weird to think about that, because he was such a significant part of my life growing up. God, I was going to get through this without crying. 25 years he was in my life, right? And then, 28 years he had every day. I'd see him every day until I got married, but I'd still see him every week. Like, he was such a significant part of my life. I called my mom every day, talked to my dad. And now it's like I've gone 25 years without even hearing his voice or without seeing him, but I know he is around me spiritually. I know that he is. And I've told stories in my past episodes of my podcast, a Christmas one, where he lit he lit the Christmas tree for me on my birthday. And so there's just been, but after 25 years, there's been a lot of different circumstances that I know he has shown up for me. But 25 years is a long time, and you you get to the point where you think, oh, dad's around, or, you see little things. I'm like, there's dad. But when your family starts to go through some tough stuff, when your own kids have to go through some tough things that you want to take away from them, when they start having kids, and everybody's my tumor, that's fine. To me, it's like that is a me thing, and if I can handle it, right? Like I can handle it. But when things start happening to your kids or your loved ones that you want to just take away from them, that's when it gets hard. And that's when I noticed my dad. So we had something similar to that this week. And I'm not going to give a lot of information just because of privacy of my children, but I do want everything's okay. And it's so funny because okay to us and okay to spirit are two different things, but it is going to be a hard road for some of our family members, but it's going to be okay. And but we were trying to come to terms with that through the tumor and through this other thing that was going on. And I kid you not, my dad showed up so strongly during this whole thing, because he shows up here and there through the last 25 years. And I could count on one hand how many times he's actually just been so adamant about him being there. And this week was kind of like that. And Mother's Day was a little hard just because one of my kids is kind of going through some issues, and it was my dad's 25-year anniversary, and it was just kind of an emotional day. And so I woke up and I wanted to go do a morning thing. I know my kids were going to come over later, but I wanted to go for a drive, and I wanted to go see my dad's headstone. And I just really felt like he was around, and I could just feel like the last couple days he was giving me signs that he was around, because I was really struggling with watching one of my kids go through some stuff. I'm going to remind you it's good, but as it was happening, we didn't know. So I, that morning, kind of just told my husband, I want to go for a drive. My dad used to take us on drives all the time. That's where I feel spirit. That's where I feel rest. That's where I feel, I want to be out in the country. I want to go where the trees are. I'm such a tree forest person. I like the ocean, but you give me any kind of forest and I'll be there 100%. And so we went on a drive up to my dad's headstone, and he lives a little farther out. It's about a 30-minute drive, and it is covered in trees, and it was the most beautiful thing. But before I had told my husband that I wanted to go, I had mentioned I want to do something this morning before all the kids come for Mother's Day. And I went to go get in the shower, and just a week ago, we changed out all the light bulbs in my mirror, my vanity mirror, because some of them were yellow and some of them were white, bright white. And it was weird. It looked like when I was putting on my makeup at work, it looked like there was like shadows all over, so I was like, we have to change these light bulbs because it looks ridiculous. And you can't see, like I'm seeing all these shadows on my face, and this part of my face looks tan and this part looks white. And so we just had changed all of the light bulbs, all brand new light bulbs. And about a week ago. And so I go to get in the shower. And as soon as I get in the shower, all the lights, all those, and there's like 6 or 7, just start flickering. Like I thought my husband was playing a trick on me. They were like going off and on and at all different times. Like it wasn't like someone was switching the lights. It was like a little light show. It was a little light show. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And I was thinking, Carrie, you tell people all the time in readings, all the time. One of the ways that they'll get to you or they'll talk to you is they'll flicker lights. They play with electricity. And this wasn't one of the normal ways that my dad would come through. And so I was like, where's the moose? Well, he can't bring a moose into my bathroom, right? So I get out. As soon as I step out of the shower, they stop. They completely stop. My husband comes in. I'm like, did you come in and play with the lights, or did you come in and flicker the lights? He's like, no. I said, okay, I want to go visit my dad today. I want to go visit his headstone. And my husband was like, okay, let's go. So as soon as my husband walks out of the room, the lights start flickering again. And I know that this is my dad. So we drive out there. It is the most beautiful drive. And I start to feel relaxed. And I just know that everything's going to be okay. And my kids have, their appointment to figure out everything the day after Mother's Day, which was Monday. And then I go to, we sit there at my dad's headstone, and all of a sudden I see all these ladybugs all over my dad's headstone. And I'm like, okay, Gary, ladybugs are a sign too. Who's showing you ladybugs? And it's my grandma. And it's not my dad's mom. It's my mom's mom. And she was a nurse, and she was a healer. And I really am sad to say this, but I was actually closer to my dad's mom. And I was visiting my dad. So I assumed, even though this grandma is also, it's so weird because this grandma, my mom's mom, is buried by my dad, but my dad's mom is not buried by him. So my mom's family must have bought all the plots. And there were ladybugs everywhere. And I at first thought, oh, that's going to be my grandma, my dad's mom. And I just had this feeling, no, it's not. Then I went over to the next headstone, which was my grandma's and grandpa's. And there was a ladybug on her headstone. And I feel so bad that I didn't know this, but there is a meaning. So if you follow me enough, you know that one of my clients passed away, and his birthday was February 26th. And that's how he messages me, or that's how he lets me know he's around, or that's how he lets me know his family's coming, or he likes to help with my business stuff. And I think it's because he likes to help with my business stuff because he wants to help, because I helped his family when he passed. And so he wants to, I feel like he feels like he likes to help. He likes business anyways, but I feel like he likes to help. So a lot of times I'll see 226. And if you've listened to my Oogie Boogie podcast about getting tickets to Oogie Boogie, you know all the story, you know how it came into play and how at the very time that I got the tickets, I saw 226. And so I was like, okay, Grandma, if this is you, I need a sign. And I went to the front part of my grandma's headstone, and her birthday, I cannot believe I did not know this. The only reason I know my other grandma's birthday is because it was right the day after my youngest child was born. And my grandma's birthday was February 26th, 226. And I knew right then that my grandma, my mom's mom, is the one that's watching over this, that's watching over my children going through this. And my dad is here, and my grandma is here. And it's not the grandma that I expected. And so sometimes we think we see these signs, but we don't know who it is. So you need to ask them if you're seeing these signs, if you're seeing the pennies. And so if you're seeing any of the signs, you need to ask who it is, because I did. I asked, and my grandma showed me it was her. And then I said, okay, if this is my mom, if this is my grandma Pernue, because that's her, this is my grandma Pernue, then I want to know how my grandma Bingham talks to me, and which is my dad's mom. And me and my husband left, and I just had this feeling that everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It's just going to be okay. And so we go to the first place we go to is the store. And as I'm walking in, I see these pennies. And pennies are from my grandma Bingham. So I know that both my grandmas are watching over me, and my dad. So my dad, I know that they're taking care of this. I know that they know. It's just a validation to them, to me, to know that they know I was going through this tumor thing. They know I was going through this anxiety thing. They know it's been really hard, and they know that my child is also going through something really hard right now. And even though they can't make it all go away, they know that just knowing that they're with us makes it so much bearable, because we know we're not alone, right? And miracles happen all the time. We don't think that they do anymore. We don't think that because they have to be big and they have to be awesome and they have to be this big blown out thing. And they can be really little tiny things, like the miracle that I just happened to find the tumor, or a miracle that you just happen to be at a certain place at a certain time. Miracles happen all the time. And what my children are going through right now is going to be hard. It didn't go away. It's not easy peasy lemon squeezy, but there's a plan and there's a way and there's a trust and there's prayers and there's this is never going to happen type of thing. It wasn't like the worst news ever. It was a hopeful thing. And I know that my dad and my two grandmas are helping us get through this, or helping our family get through this. And it's not just me, you guys. If stuff like this is happening to you, if stuff like this is happening, especially this last month, it's been hard. Even Carrie Connects, the card was trust. Trust your ancestors. Trust spirit. Trust that it's going to be okay. And spirit's okay is different than ours. But trust that the bigger picture, the big picture that we don't see because we're in the middle of the journey, is going to be okay. And so these little miracles, a lot of times people would just take a shower and just be like, oh my gosh, we must not have put the light bulbs in right because they're flickering. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of ladybugs on my dad's headstone. Oh my gosh, there's more ladybugs on my grandma's headstone. And oh my gosh, the same birthday that this other spirit talks to me is the same birthday as my grandma's birthday. That's a huge, what are the odds of that? That this stranger that was a client, that I have this relationship with his family now, has the same birthday, out of all the days in the year, has the same birthday of my grandma, and I didn't even realize it until Mother's Day. So there's just all these things, and these things don't just happen for me, you guys, just because I'm a medium. These things happen to you guys all the time. You just haven't been trained to see them. You don't know you see them. You just go take a shower and think, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with the light bulbs. Oh my gosh, look at all those ladybugs that are on the headstone. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. My grandma's birthday is February 26th. And oh my gosh, look at all these pennies I just found as I asked for them, but they just showed up. So be aware of what's going on, because miracles happen every day. In fact, it makes me want to play that song, Miracles Happen, from that one show, The Princess Diaries, that Anne Hathaway was on. Miracles Happen. And so this particular child that has been struggling with this thing that's been going on in our family with one of their own children, I do readings for my children every year. At the beginning of the year, I do a card pull. I have to, because I'm their mom, and sometimes my mediumship intuition will interfere with mother's intuition, and so I always have to do a card pull for them to make sure that I'm pulling in the right information. And then I use my intuition too. So I did kind of say, oh my gosh, it's just funny how things happen, because I'll call things, I'll be like, oh, this is going to happen. And my kids will be like, no, but then it does happen. It's pretty funny. But this year, for this specific child, we'd pulled a card for each month, and I did see that, there would be a certain time in the year that was going to be really, really hard. And then at the end of the reading, we pull another card and put it in the center, and that's the main focus of the year. So each month you have a different card for each month and the focus on that month, but then at the end you have a card that's focused on the year. And her card was miracles. So I want you to remember, God has not forgotten you. Your ancestors have not forgotten you. And they are with you all the time. So be aware of your surroundings and be aware that miracles happen all the time. And sometimes when they can't, it's because their hands are tied. There are universal laws that our ancestors have to follow. And there are experiences that we have to experience. But if their hands are not tied and they can make changes for you, I 100% promise you that they do. And they bring blessings forward, and they love you, and they help you, and they guide you. And I want you to, for this week, I know that Carrie connects, the word is trust, but I also want you to trust and trust in miracles because they exist, and they don't have to be big things like parting the sea. They can be little tiny things in your life. And I want you to start noticing them. Little tiny things, finding pennies, finding ladybugs, lights flickering. I want you to look every day for a miracle and thank God and thank your ancestors when you see them. So I love you guys. And one day when all of this, when everybody knows about it and I'll tell you what this is. But right now it's kind of a private thing that the family's dealing with. And if you guys know me, I am kind of a private person. And so, but I promise you it will come out. And if there's any other miracle stories that come with it, I will tell you, because I am going to start telling you my experiences more as a psychic medium, because even though I'm pretty secretive, I feel like it's your right to know. It's your right to know some of the things that happen in life and happens in a day-to-day life for psychic mediums. So I love you guys so much. I don't think I have anything going on this week except for my event. It's on the 16th. It's already sold out, but I am going to sit down tomorrow and I'm going to plan out some more events now that this tumor is gone again. So there will be more coming up, more events coming up end of May, part of June, classes on some of the June Saturdays. So be prepared for that and lots of events. And I love you guys. I mean it. I so mean it. I know I wouldn't be here without you. So I love it. I love you and I mean it. And I know you have everything that you possibly need already inside you. And I will see you guys next week. And thank you for being so patient with me.